Hello everybody, welcome to the Stripe Show. I'm your host, Travis Fulton, and welcome back to the beautiful Jacksonville Golf and Country Club, our home of the Stripe Show. It's great to be home, but I gotta say, just a quick note, 1 week ago, episode 13, Women's Golf Day, big celebration. The Stripe Show was live right there at PGA Tour Superstores. We had a ton of fun. How about our co-host and contributor here on 18Birdies app, Trillium Rose? She did a terrific job. And you know what? It was one of our most watched Stripe shows yet. We appreciate you at home tuning in and spending some time with us here on the Stripe Show. We hope you're having fun, and we hope that you're learning, because we have another action-packed show here, episode 14. We're going to be taking more of your swings. Show us your swing. We got 4 more coming in. Keep them coming. Email your swings to the Stripe Show at 18birdies.com. And you know how we do it here. We go full analysis, and then we go full game plan right here on how to get you moving in the right direction. It's been great to get the feedback from all of you on how it's helping your games as well. So we're going to get to those. We're going to be talking about the U.S. Open. It's the United States Open this week at Shinnecock Hills. Dustin Johnson wins the FedEx St. Jude Classic. Going into Shinnecock this week, we know what he can do at the U.S. Open. So we're going to be talking a little bit of DJ, but we're also going to be talking about the short game. A 14 strong you're not going to want to miss, because we're going to be working around the green here on number 1 at Jacksonville Golf. And I'm going to share with you some of the shots that you're going to be seeing on TV. And finally, we're going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to play this first hole. I'm going to show you some of the things that I go through on how to play this first hole. Yes, it is a par 5, but more importantly, the first hole jitters. How do we get off to a good start? So before we get to all that, let's get to our first Show Us Your Swing in Braden. All right, hey, Braden, Travis here. Thanks so much for the video. Got a really good swing. Lots of nice components. The first thing that I think would help you here as we kind of get through your routine here with the driver, you can see your shoulders are definitely aiming over here to the right. The club face, going down this way, but the shoulders kind of facing that forward ball position, and definitely opened up that way. So I want to show you how to square up a little bit with the shoulders. Now, from here, first move, really good. Lots of good stuff here. Looks like you make a good turn, good wrist hinge, nice full backswing. Well done. I think the opportunity in the swing's right here. Watch this as you come down. You can see a lean on it just a little bit there with the upper body. Getting kind of out ahead of it, I think, a bit. Shaft will steepen a little bit more as you do that, and then you probably have to kind of stand up a little bit to make some room for the club face. But really powerful stuff here in the hips, opening up into this finished position. Looks like you create really good club head speed. So what I want to address is this move right here, this little move right here. Looks like from the top, kind of leaning to the left a little bit with the upper body. And I think I can help you with that move, which will create a little bit more room at the bottom for things to square up through impact. Here it comes. All right, Braden, thanks so much for sending in your video. Man, you got a lot of really goods happening in your swing. I think there's just a couple things that I want to share with you that I think will clean up the driver a little bit, probably give you a little bit more distance and a little bit more control over the face. I want to go to the target line here view first. And I mentioned that you were facing the forward ball position. This is something that I talk a lot about here on the Stripe Show. We get the ball forward off the left heel, and then we gravitate up to it like this with our chest, and it gets our shoulders going way over here to the left, when the reality is so many need to feel more closed back here like this. You start to see some of this left forearm from that target line view rather than it getting buried. Let's go back to face on here real quick. And you can see from here, as I move that ball forward, my chest goes this way like this versus staying more back here. So I think as you close your shoulders and your chest more, that'll feel like you can hit it from the inside and probably control that face in path a little bit better with the driver. Now, in the swing, I mentioned that you were leaning on it a little bit. And this is something that you see from time to time with players. When they set up here, they get it to the top and then they kind of lean on it, right? Watch my left shoulder. I kind of lean this way, a little bit out in front of it. And what we want to do is we want to stay a little bit more behind it in transition. See the difference there? My left shoulder kind of broke down and worked a little bit more around. My shoulders are level rather than kind of going this way, right? You can look at it through your spine as well. Your spine just kind of stays in left bend like this. See this? As I'm shifting weight, I go left, shoulder stays down, rather than as I go left, I start to turn. Now my shoulders level out and my left shoulder starts to work a little bit more around. So I like that for you with the driver. I think that countered with you being a little more close to the right will get the club in even better position coming down and allow you to hit the driver a little bit more consistent. We appreciate you sending in your swing, and now I want to transition to this first tee shot here at Jacksonville Golf and Country Club, because how do we hit this first tee shot? The tendency, we get to the first tee and the jitters are flowing, right? The jitters are going, we're nervous, and what I see is a swing that slows down, right? And a swing that becomes where we start to steer it a little bit. And for me, in my own experiences, what I'll do is I'll get short in my turn, right? I won't make my full turn in my shoulders and hips. My arms and hands will kind of run away. And then as I come into impact, I am not open with my hips. I'm just kind of steering it, and I usually will leave it out to the right. So I've got to have that trigger. What is it that gets my engine working? Full turn back. That's number one. And then from there, just swing hard at it, right? Get the engine going on the first tee and don't steer it down there. So here we go. I'm back here. Deep breath. I've got my spot there. This is a nice wide open fairway, no tricks. I'm just gonna aim it right down the middle, and I'm gonna make a full turn, and I'm gonna swing hard through impact here to get the engine running right out of the gate in the first hole. Woo! Get you some of that. Let's go. Show us your swing number two, Zach. Hey, Zach Travis here. Thanks so much for watching the Stripe Show and following me on Instagram at Travis Fulton Golf. You are doing well watching the videos, and that's great to hear. The first thing is that I want to give you here, more specifically for your swing now, is to get your weight a little bit more off your toe. See how your neck right now is kind of to the left of this big green line here? I want to get kind of the neck collar area more on the toe line. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And when we do that, I think it'll be a little easier for when you turn to get your right arm to create a little bit more depth. Depth meaning your right arm going from there and being a little lower and kind of across the chest and covering that left shoulder. Now, with that said, you do a nice job turning your hips and shoulders. The club face looks really good. And I love this. Here, look at that right wrist. Fantastic. Flat right wrist, bent left wrist. As it comes down, it's a little high here. The shaft you can see kind of on the right forearm. When we get the depth in the right arm, that shaft will probably come down a little bit more in there, closer to the left forearm. And I think that'll be a really good addition to what is, it sounds like, an improving golf swing. So good stuff. Here it comes. Get you off the toes, get a little more depth in your right arm, and the progress continues. All right. We made it. I hit that good.
Yeah, that was a shot.
that was one of my better drives of the year, let me tell you. All right, so second shot here, par 5. I know you paced it up. What do you got?
I'm thinking it's 185.
You're thinking it's 185? Come on, man, you're my caddy. You got to know. What is it?
185.
It's 185. All right, that's more like it. I've got my app here. Let me check with the 18 Birdies app here real quick just to get absolutely sure. So the app, of course, I'm using this scroller. Front, about 178. Flag in the middle, 186. Hey, Justin, job well done. All right, so 185, 186 for me is normally a 6-iron, and I have that entered in here, and it's recommending a 6, but we've got some wind, right? And it's kind of calmed down just a little bit. We could really feel it as we were walking up the fairway talking about it. but it's kind of calmed down just a little bit. But you'll notice here, look at uphill lie. Get in there tight there, Tom. You can see how that ball is on an uphill slope, and that's going to affect the ball because that's going to make the ball go a little bit higher. Now I'm starting to feel the wind. I think it's up there. I think it's a little bit above the trees right now, so I'm saying about a half a club. All right, about a half a club there. You can feel it kind of coming back like that. Don't let that grass hit you. And an uphill lie. So normally a 6. What do you think?
Yeah, 6.
Now we're gonna go 5-iron, right? We gotta take more club, and one of the reasons is because I've got all kinds of room in the back as well. So I like hitting a hard 5 here off this uphill and see if I can kind of get it into the middle of the green. You got a 5 in there, or did you lose that?
I do not see it.
There it is right there. All right, thank you very much. Yeah. All right, we'll get back to Justin here in a second. But before we get to this shot, we're gonna talk about my man, Zach, the lefty. Let me give you a little history here on Zach. He is a big fan of the show, of the Stripe Show, and he follows me on Instagram. Be sure you do this now, at Travis Fulton Golf, and he follows the stuff that we're putting out, and he's really improving. He sent me some video from about 6 months ago earlier to where he is now, and Zach, you're doing a great job. And I want to help you now with some specifics in your swing, starting in the setup position. We're going to go to the target line view here. And as we get to the target line view, what I was talking about is kind of your balance points. I thought you were a little top heavy over this way where the collar was well outside of your toe line like this. I want to get that collar to be more on your toe line. So when you get in there, you might feel like you got to scoot in a little bit. You got to stand up a little bit. And then when you bend your knees, just feel like you kind of sit back. You kind of rock back just a little bit more. And now I'm a little bit more in the center of my feet to the heel, and use a mirror and see this collar right over the toe line. I like that for you. It's going to help you turn in both directions. Now, in the swing, what we saw is your lead arm. For me, it's my left, okay? And for you, it's your right. Your lead arm was a little upright, okay? Club face is good. You're turning good. Lead arm, I feel like, is a little upright. So I want to get this arm to travel just a little bit more in and around, right? This left arm feels like it's kind of on top of the pec and on the chest here. It's not out here, but here. Your lead arm, I think a good point for you is that it's going to kind of cover a little bit more of this trail shoulder. You're not going to see so much of it like this, but it's going to cover it. I like that for you because I feel like with that lead arm like that, that club's now going to trace even a little closer to this trail forearm versus being up here and then that getting a little bit more on that lead forearm. So I think the good news for you, little setup adjustment, little better placement of the lead arm, and you're just going to continue to improve, my friend. We appreciate you being a fan of the Stripe Show and following me on Instagram there at Travis Fulton Golf. Now, time to hit this shot. I've hit a good drive, and you know what happens sometimes? After we hit a good drive, we get excited. We should get excited. We should feel good about this. This was a very good drive for me, but now I got to reset, right? Now it's time for another shot. Your concentration on the golf course, look at it, it should work in like little, 50, 60-second periods. There's times to kind of let your guard down, relax, you're in the cart, you're walking up here, but now it's time, put the glove back on, get that trigger, and concentrate on the task at hand and put forth the same effort. Don't dwell that I just hit a great shot, everything's good. Or even if you hit a bad shot, get down on yourself, try to look at it, each shot individually, the old adage, one shot at a time. It's so true, but you gotta learn to segment your concentration one shot at a time. For me, what kind of triggers my brain is right here. I take my glove off after every shot. And when I hear that sound and I put it on, now it's starting to trigger my brain. It's time to hit a shot. Justin, I've already went through what club we're gonna hit. I've got my 5-iron. I'm taking a little bit more club to offset this uphill lie, right? And I know I've got a little bit of wind in my face. So I'm gonna counter in about 8 to 10 yards. Got plenty of club here. I know if I hit it good, there's some room in the back of the green as well, and I'll certainly take an eagle putt back down that hill. So, a little routine here. Always starts for me back here with a practice swing. A little bit of an uphill. It's gonna make the ball go to the left a little bit. So I'm gonna borrow just a little bit more to the right. Notice my eyes when I walk in. They're out towards the target. First step, aim the face. I'm stepping in. Look at my right foot. I'm stepping in, aiming the face. Don't get in here with your body first. This is like fingernails on the chalkboard for me. When we get in here, we're going body first. Aim the face first. I'll do that again. I'm stepping in with my right foot. Face. Got it. Now I get comfortable. Waggle, eyes on the target. Waggle, eyes on the target. And for me, after that second waggle, it's go time. That's my routine. Ready? Here we go. Plenty of club. Stepping in. One waggle. Two waggles. Uh-oh, I pulled it a little bit. That's all right, because we want to talk about the short game here on the Stripe Show, so I missed that off to the left. We're going to have a difficult shot on the left side of the green to try to get this up and down for birdie. And as we walk up there, I want you to check out this week's 18 Birdies app feature.
Hey guys, Randy here from 18 Birdies, and I'd like to talk to you about viewing your round history in the app. Every round you play with 18 Birdies is saved to your round history. Once you've played at least one round, you can view your past rounds by going to your Me page and tapping the number above rounds at the top of the page. This will bring you to a full list of all the rounds you've played with 18 Birdies, and you can dive into each round to view your round summary, scores, and stats. You'll also see photos or videos that were posted to the round gallery, and any shots you tracked during the round.
Just another great feature on the 18 Birdies app, round history. I like it because you play multiple courses. You can see how you're doing on different courses, reflecting back. And of course, the statistics are going to tell you your strengths and weaknesses. Now, Justin and I are going to try to find my second shot here. I pulled it over here in the rough left of the green. And as we find my golf ball, I want to share with you an interview that I did with one of the best sports psychologists in the game. And I know he is one busy character this week at the US Open. Enjoy this interview with Dr. Brett McCabe. All right, we're back here, Players Championship, joined by one of the coaches now on the 18 Birdies platform, Dr. Brett McCabe.
Hey there.
Thank you so much for being here. You are a busy man. How many players you got now? I mean, good grief.
About 10.
10 players?
Got 4 or 5 this week. So, busy.
10 on the PGA Tour.
10 on the PGA Tour.
We won't get into all these other
No.
tours and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Got some coming. How am I doing?
How do you feel about these lesson plans you put together?
I love them.
Yeah.
I think for any given player, whether you're an elite player or a bogey player, the lesson plans are, I took a look at the mental game from a different perspective.
Okay.
And the perspective that I wanted players to understand is how to maximize their game without getting into the traditional, stereotypical mental game stuff. The mental game is oftentimes many things just about, go into a process, visualize a shot, but it's so much deeper than that, and it's so much simpler than that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a construct. What I want players to understand is that they understand who they are as a player, and they understand what makes them successful, then they can build a platform to help them achieve the success they want. Okay. And that's what's worked for my players on tour. It's been very simple, but it's been demonstrated results over and over and over again.
And look for these lesson plans by this guy right here, just what he talked about, is coming on the 18 Birdie platform very, very soon. I want to talk about a couple players here that, when I look at them over the last couple years, have really improved. And I want to start with the lefty, Brian Harman. Share with our viewers one thing from your eyes that Brian has really improved upon in the mental side in the last couple years. Because technically, I look at him, it looks the same, right? Technically, he's swinging the golf course. And I know there's been incremental gains, but mentally, he's taken some good strides.
Well, one of the things when you have a player like a Brian Harman or a player who's so talented and wants to see the success, is that you have to get them to believe that their good is good enough. And so many players are on a platform of, this time next year, I'm on this major redo and I'm going to fix all these problems, versus going, what I have is good enough. And if my 95% can beat other players, that extra 5% is going to come from self-belief. When players talk about trusting a process, that's great, trust a process. But there's a whole nother component about the competitive mindset that they believe in themselves. And if you can believe in what you have versus chasing something you don't have, you'll always be successful. And somebody like Brian, it's just getting himself in position without having to do more than he needs to do.
I like this golf course for him.
Oh yeah, I like any golf course for him.
Yeah, I think
there's not a golf course that Brian Harman can't compete on.
Sneaky long.
Yeah, much longer than people think.
Yeah.
And probably the best short game on tour,
Oh,
or one of
wow.
the best, because
Yeah.
I'd argue with some other guys too.
I think this is a spot for him. I
Yeah.
could see him. I would not be surprised if he won the Players'
He's had
Championship.
success here before.
Yeah. Let's go to another one, and we could talk for
Yeah.
the rest of the day on your players. But Patton Kizzire.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that's won twice this year, right? He's third in the FedEx
Yep.
Cup right now. I mean, big games.
Yeah, Patton's another one that's just been so talented, and his pathway's been different. He wasn't somebody who made it out on the PGA Tour at 22. He learned who he was, and he's trusted that. And so what you get to see from players like Patton is that Patton had early success, took down Ricky Fowler at Mayakoba,
Yep.
then went to Sony and survived a 6-hole playoff, where what was so beautiful about it is on his first playoff hole, he dunked a wedge shot into the bunker. Green side, where he thought he had an advantage, had to get it up and down from a bunker to extend the playoff, and he did, and then he went on to win. So a player like Patton has all the tools in the world. What it is just not trying to be something you're not. Players, if you hit a draw, hit a draw. If you hit a cut, hit a cut. If you need to hit a 7-iron off the greens to get it up and down, you don't have to hit a sand wedge. Do what it takes to get the ball in the hole. Let's not overcomplicate it. Those model swings sell videos and they sell shirts.
Yep.
They don't sell scores. And you got to find what sells your score.
Let's talk John Rahm
Yeah.
for a minute, because I know you've worked with John as well. I mean, to me, I look at John Rahm. I mean, he's obviously a powerful player. He's a good ball striker. The kid can putt. He looks, I don't know John, but he seems mentally tough to me.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he's ready to get in. He's ready to mix it up. Is that pretty accurate?
And John's got a history with learning, and I won't say self-taught, but he understands his own game very, very well. He knows who he is. He's an elite competitor and somebody who has a tremendous amount of passion for what he does. So he's going to compete. And what I love about players is finding that competitive mindset deep within and understanding that great competitors don't have to have the results. They understand that vulnerability has got to be in there, and so success and failure is always on the table. But you've got to be willing to fail in order to succeed. And if we're not going to worry about failure, then let's go succeed. We can want it really bad, but we got to fight for it.
Last question.
Yeah.
Right, for our viewers at home. Dealing with failure
Yeah.
on the golf course. If you had to give them one, maybe two things to accept failure and deal with it and build upon that.
Well, failure, I came from the baseball world.
Okay.
Baseball's a game of failure, but so is golf. I had a guy on the web tour shoot 58, and I asked him how many great shots did he hit, and he said maybe 10. So it's about managing your bad shots and being able to keep it. What happens is players hit bad shots, and it automatically triggers this down the road mentality of like, oh my God, if I hit that shot on 14, I'm in trouble. Or all this work I've done is so bad, and I've lost all the success I've had. Look, you're gonna fail. Be the best at managing your failures by moving forward and keep going. Where people get in trouble is they start allowing it to mean something more than just a bad shot.
Wow, listen to this. One of the best in the business, 10 deep now on the PGA Tour and growing, and he's one of our contributing coaches right here on 18 Birdies. So look for the lesson plans from Dr. Brett McCabe. Thanks so much for your time.
You got it.
All right, I found my ball here in the deep rough, but look at this, Tom. Something's different here. They moved the flag. Justin, I thought you said the flag was in the middle.
They changed it.
I think they did change it. Look at this. The flag's up front now. Oh well, let's talk about the U.S. Open. 14 strong. We're going lob wedge because this will be a popular club at Shinnecock Hills. Guys are going to miss greens just like I did here. Not too bad, just off the left side, and I'm in the rough. Now, hard to say with the U.S. Open. When I was growing up, it was some heavy rough. As of late, not as long. So we're here at Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. Got a little bit of rough. I'm kind of push it down in there a little bit to try to simulate a little bit of this maybe thickish rough that they're going to have to get out of as they're navigating these short game shots. This is a shot that you have to have, right? You've got to be able to take your highest lofted club, for me it's a 60-degree wedge, and hit a shot that kind of pops up in the air a little bit, hits maybe with just a little bit of check, not much, and then it runs out, right? This is kind of that medium type of trajectory shot that you have to have from the rough because usually it's sloped down the hill, right? The green sits up and we got to throw something in the air. It can't come in too flat, right? All right, so we're going to go 60 degrees, and what are we going to see when these guys hit this shot? Well, the first thing is they are going to open the club face up a little bit, and they are going to lean the shaft a little forward, right? That's going to get that leading edge a little bit more exposed and down in there. Now, you can experiment and keep it a little bit more neutral, but I would recommend just a little bit of forward lean. Ball position is probably going to be somewhere in the middle. Weight on the left foot, and really important now, pay attention to this. My sternum, okay, watch this. I'm going to make sure it's a little bit here to the left. Okay, my sternum right now is on top of that ball. Don't get in here and get going this way. Okay, don't be hanging off like this. If you're going to do this, then you're going to hit behind it. All right, so face open. I'm going to get in there, sternum a little bit over here to the left, and my weight is on the left side. And you don't have to get crazy with it, right? You don't have to get crazy with the weight and the sternum. Just make sure it's right there on top. Now, I'm going to stay there with the weight, with the sternum, and I'm going to work my left hand. And your left hand's going to do two things. Watch this, Tom. Come in here. Your left hand's going to hinge vertically and rotate the face. I can rotate the face within the context of that hinge. Here's what that means. We're going to go to target line now. Hinge, club head works up. It works up in line with my lead forearm, and now I'm going to rotate my face. Look at that. That shaft's still pretty well structured in line with my forearm. I see a lot of this when people rotate the face, that club head doesn't work up enough, right? Kind of gets in here, gets in behind, and when that happens, then it's going to bottom out too soon, or it gets in here, and then we got to recover this way. Let's go back to that face on view. Watch this. Gets in here. I got to recover. I got to get an angle on it. What do? I add left bend. I add left bend, and now it gets really sticky again at the bottom. So we hinge the wrist, we rotate the face, but everything's still pretty well structured here. Practice that. Get that toe working a little bit more up, and now from there that club head can fall, and I can turn my chest through. And as I turn my chest, I'm going to fold the left elbow. Okay? Hinge, rotate the face, turn the chest, and fold the left elbow. And I think that's going to pop it up in the air. Here we go. It did. Look at that. Popped it straight up in the air, rolling down the hill to about 6 feet. And I'll take that. You can see that ball was sitting down in there. It almost came out a little bit like a bunker shot, and sometimes they do. So you've got to hit it with some speed. You've got to make sure that as you're turning, there's some speed in there. You're getting that club head to track through, right? It's not going to be a perfect impact condition every time with that ball really sitting down in the rough. Even though I didn't hit that perfect, I hit it pretty darn good. I had enough speed coming through, and it got the ball onto the green about 5-6 feet. I like this shot. This is a shot that you're going to see at the US Open, and this is a shot that you need at your golf course to get your short game to be where it needs to be. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right, time to get back to show us your swing. It's number 3, and it's a student of mine, Jim McCarthy. Here we go, in, and across, hands. All right, hey Jim, Travis here. Thanks for sending in the swing, and of course you and I have been working together for a little bit now, and wanted to share here on the Stripe Show some of the things that we're doing, and because I think can help so many. The first move here, your hands much closer to the body, hands in. See the left arm attached to the chest, but yet the club head still out in front of you. You're not letting the club head swing way in behind the hands. Now the reason we're doing that is A, it helps you make a bigger turn in your shoulders and your hips, and B, look at this here, the club shaft at the 3/4 position definitely in a little more of a stacked up position, which is good because it helps us get the club in a better position at the top. And of course your tendency is the club can start to get very laid off early in the backswing. And that's really the whole point of this video and sharing this is that we would rather get this club for so many, you know, here where we start to kind of shape it nicely close to parallel, or if anything, maybe a little across the line is certainly better, I think, for the majority of the golfers than getting it laid off where the yellow is. So doing a much better job of getting the hands in, getting the club more vertical, and maybe even slightly late or across the line a bit at the top. And then look at here. That club responds beautifully to the right forearm, and now you're in a wonderful position where we're just trying to turn and get out of the way because that club is in a beautiful spot to hit it based off the improvement of your backswing. So let's have some fun here on the Stripe Show, break this down a little bit more as far as the improvement of the backswing and how that's really setting the stage for a more instinctive downswing. All right, Jim, you're making good progress, my friend, and I want to share this swing with everybody at home because this is something that I think can help so many of you. What Jim has struggled with over the last year is the tendency is his hands will kind of get out here like this away from him, and then the shaft starts to kind of lay off like this. And if you look from face on, his hip would kick out, right? So he would kind of sway, his hands would go out, and then the shaft would lay off. Now, if you look at this from the target line view, when that shaft starts to lay off, what happens here is as we start down, then this wants to start to steepen like this. And that's usually not conducive for most of you at home. We want to see the shaft, as you've heard many times, start to shallow out. So here's the lesson in this, and for Jim to continue to work on. His hands feel closer to him like this, closer inside. That doesn't mean the club head gets behind his hands. As he turns, his left arm feels more snug. We'll use the shirt from face on here, kind of pinch in here, feel that pressure point. And as he feels that pressure point, his hands come in, and you can see the lead shoulder. The lead shoulder kind of tilts down more rather than my hands out and now starting to come up here. All right, so the left arm pinched, hands in, left shoulder's working down, and now we can start to turn the shaft what feels more across the line. And for most of you, I would rather have that club a little across the line than laid off like that. Why? Well, laid off steepens, across the line starts to shallow out. Look at that, Freddie Couples. It starts to shallow out. So I think the backswing, although we don't hit it with our backswing, it can start to change the probability of the downswing and the impact conditions. So if you struggle, sway, you struggle, hands out, and you feel like you kind of get that runoff laid off, start to turn the hip, start to keep the left arm more snug, hands in, and then let that shaft get a little more across, and then what you'll find is it'll start to shallow out on the downswing, and from there, as we're working on with Jim, now we can really rotate. There it is. I just felt like it was a little across at the top, shallowed out, and I just put the burners on and rotated through. So that show us your swing number 3. It's time for one more. Show us your swing number 4, and it's the mystery golfer. This video showed up nowhere, no one knows where it came from. We don't know your name, but you know what? We're going to help you out anyway, mystery man. Show us your swing number 4, the man in blue. Okay, I'm going with the man in blue here. Now, thanks for sending in the golf swing, and let's take a look here because I want to help you out. You've got a lot of good things going in your swing, particularly this first move. Good job here. Look at that. Club shaft right on the toe line. The club face here slightly toed down, kind of matching the spine angle. So good stuff there to the halfway spot. Now as we go to the top, here's where I think I can help you. As you turn, you can see you're adding flexion to your right knee, almost kind of sitting down. Watch here again. I'm going to reset it. Okay, and then we take it back. You can see how you're adding some flexion to your right knee, and that causes your spine to kind of drop lower a little bit here to the top. Okay, so I would say your inclination to the ground, you've actually gotten closer to it than where you started. So when you come down, what happens here, the shaft's probably going to get a little on top, vertical as it does. You can see kind of a little bit over the top, but then you got to stand back up, right? So your body really standing back up, and when you do that, you kind of throw all the angles out, and it's tough to hit it with some forward shaft length. But you do a good job of compensating for that, and I bet hit a lot of really good shots because the club face looks very good. So what I want to show you here, the man in blue, is we're going to build off this first move, and I'm going to get you to turn that right hip back a little bit more and lose some flexion in this knee, and it'll feel like your spine gets a little bit taller. But what'll happen is you're taller, and then we start down. This shaft, instead of wanting to get kind of here, you know, a little bit on top or in between the forearms, I'll show you how to get it to kind of shallow out a little bit more to the right forearm, and then from there, instead of standing up, you'll just be able to turn through impact. All right, so good stuff. I want to show you a few things in your backswing that I think will really help shallow out things coming down and improve the impact position. The man in blue, I'm going to help you out with your golf swing. Lots of good things. And again, I think backswing related can really help you start to achieve a better downswing and into the impact position. All right, so what we saw, first move going back here from the target line. I love this club face. Everyone look at that. See that club face, toe slightly down? Really, really good job there. Don't over-rotate that face in the full swing. We can do that in the short game. We can rotate the face like we did in 14 strong, but in the golf swing, for most of you, toe slightly down is going to be really good. So I like that. Now, what's happening, though, is as you go to the top, you're adding knee flex, right? So we see that right knee really going down like this, and your spine wants to go forward more when you do that. So your inclination to the ball, when you add knee flex and your spine goes down, you're closer to it. Okay, the left arm's gonna go upright, and then when you come down, you gotta start standing up like this, and it's hard to rotate out of the way. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the right knee. You can flex it at address, but watch what I do. I'm gonna give it a little play, a little bounce in the knee, and then I'm gonna push up, okay? I'm gonna push up, and as I push up, look at my spine. My spine's extending now. It feels like it's going more this way rather than this way, okay? So old, new, okay? And as you do that, your lead arm will want to work more around you like this. And I love this look for you because if you're here, now you can rotate back around the other side. Now, you might get a few thin shots, right? Because you're used to standing up coming through. Stay with it, work the knee, work the spine, round out the lead arm, and then go down and get it and rotate to the finish. And I think that's really going to help you out. Here we go. Good setup here. Target line, watch this. Up. Up. Okay? And from there, I can rotate. There it is. Hit that one right in the center of the face. The man in blue. We have no idea where your swing came from. We don't know your name. Well, we hope that helped your golf swing. And you're probably thinking, I'd like to get involved in the Stripe Show. How do I send my video in? Check this out. Hey there, Travis Fulton here with the Stripe Show. You want to get involved? What's on your mind? Send me a question. Tweet it to @18Birdies app or email it to the Stripe Show at 18birdies.com. But perhaps you really need some help. I want you to send me a video. And in that video, I want you to tell me what the tendencies are with your ball flight so I can help you. Film your swing from face on, where you're looking at me just like this, or the target line. One of these two angles is what I need to see to give you some good feedback. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make you a deal. I'm gonna show you my swing. Now, I want you to show us your swing. All right, time to finish this off. I hit a great drive, not a good second shot, but I hit a good third shot out of the rough there in 14 strong, and now it's time to make the 7-footer for birdie. 60-second swing fix. You know the routine here, but we're gonna do it on putting this week. We have a timer?
60 seconds.
Here we go. All right, so when you read a putt, quick tip for you, use your feet. We use our eyes, right? We know that. We can see things, but your eyes can deceive you a little bit. Come up here like this, straddle the ball, and ask yourself, which foot is higher than the other? For me, I feel my left foot is a little bit higher. Then come up to the midpoint. Follow me here, Jaron. We're gonna come right up here to the midpoint. My left foot is a little bit higher, right? I'm looking with my eyes, but I'm sensing with my feet as well. So my feet are telling me left or right. It's downhill. I'm gonna factor that in as well. Downhill, the ball's gonna break more. So I'm gonna really stretch this break out to the left-hand side. Play more break downhill. Use your eyes, yes, but use your feet. Straddle it here first and then get to the midpoint. Here we go. Let's see if we can finish this thing off. Little birdie. Stretching that break out. That's got a chance. Boom. Birdie. on the first hole. We're going to keep that going here. We're going to play the rest of the course here on Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. We appreciate you watching the Stripe Show. Can't thank you enough. And before we leave you here today, I want to share with you one of our viewers. He was a part of the Stripe Show about 2 months ago. He sent in a swing. He wrote me an email and he says, you know what? I'm considering quitting the game because I've lost my swing. Well, we helped him out. We gave him some direction. And I got a very nice email from this gentleman over the weekend sharing with me one of the best scores he's ever had. This stuff works, people. We appreciate you watching the Stripe Show. We hope we're helping your game. Check out this scorecard, and we'll see you next week.